Tina Turner kissed her second Erwin Bach all the way to the bedroom before falling for him, reveals her memoir. Tina Turner was left raging when her second husband Erwin Bach waited 2 days to call her after the first time they slept together. The late private dancer-singer married the German music producer, 67, who was by her side when she died aged 83 on 24 May at their Swiss estate. In 2013, 35 years after she finalized her divorce from her abusive first husband and music partner Ike Turner, she said in her My Love Story memoir about betting Erwin after a dinner party, then waiting for his call. Music was playing. The other guests drifted away. The kissing began, and we kissed all the way to the bedroom. Erwin stayed with me that night. The next morning, he was scheduled to go to Hawaii on a business trip. I thought about him constantly for 2 days. And then he called casually mentioning that his trip had been canceled. He'd been a few miles away in Malibu the whole time, hanging out with his colleagues, and hadn't thought to tell me. I tried to stay cool, but inside I was furious. Tina, you stupid old fool, I fumed. Why did I make such bad choices in men? Why was there always disappointment? I couldn't bear the thought of being hurt again. I was better off alone, I decided. Tina Turner further revealed, meeting Erwin again while she was promoting Private Dancer in Basel, Switzerland, and all my feelings came roaring back. She added, I'd rented a house in Gstaad for the holidays, so I invited him and some other people from EMI, the record label, to visit. And one night Erwin turned up alone, wearing a funny little German hat, and exuding a masculinity that I found irresistible. By the end of the evening, I'd made up my mind to pack up and move in with him. From now on, wherever Erwin was would be my home. Thus began my love story with a man who was 16 years younger than me. But that was never an issue in my mind, then or now. How Tina Turner's husband Erwin Bach once saved her life. Erwin Bach, Tina Turner's partner of more than 3 decades, saved her life in more ways than one. For starters, he made the legendary artist believe in love again. Prior to their relationship, Tina had been married to fellow musician Ike Turner, with whom she shared 4 kids. The proud Mary singer endured physical and emotional abuse throughout their tumultuous marriage, which ended in 1976. When Tina managed to escape with nothing but the clothes on her back, 36 cents, and a mobile credit card. I was living a life of death, she told People. I didn't exist. I didn't fear him killing me when I left, because I was already dead. When I walked out, I didn't look back. Nearly a decade later, she met Bach, a music executive who she would later realize was the love of her life. Falling in love with my husband, Erwin, was another exercise in leaving my comfort zone, of being open to the unexpected gifts that life has to offer. She wrote in her memoir, Happiness Becomes You, via People. Tina and Bach were together for 37 years, 10 of which they were married. And in those years, Bach had been with her through thick and thin, including the period when she experienced a string of illnesses, including a stroke and kidney failure. At the time, Bach didn't hesitate to donate one of his kidneys to his wife. Erwin Bach donated one of his kidneys to Tina Turner. In the latter part of her life, Tina Turner experienced a life-threatening illness that made her think about ending up with medical help, which is legal in Switzerland, where she lives with Erwin Bach. In an essay she wrote for the European Kidney Health Alliance, the singer confessed to mismanaging her hypertension due to her aversion to traditional medicine, leading her to resort to homeopathic alternatives. Sadly, it led to decreased kidney function, which forced her to go into dialysis. In her book, My Love Story, she wrote that she felt so helpless at the time that she considered euthanasia. I faced 2 choices, either regular dialysis or a kidney transplant. It wasn't my idea of life, but the toxins in my body had started taking over. I couldn't eat. I was surviving, but not living, she penned via Bang Premier. I began to think about death. There are several organizations that facilitate the process, including Exit and Dignitas. I signed up to be a member of Exit just in case. But then Bach decided to donate one of his kidneys, which she refused at first. I was overwhelmed by the enormity of his offer, she added. But because I love him, my first response was to try to talk him out of taking such a serious and irreversible step. The transplant happened in 2017, and admittedly, Tina had conflicted feelings about the whole thing. I wondered if anyone would think that Erwin's living donation was transactional in some way, she said. Bach, for his part, never regretted it at all. In an interview with the New York Times, he said, and I would do it again. Inside Tina Turner and Erwin Bach's marriage. When Tina Turner and Erwin Bach met, Tina was convinced that it was love at first sight. Bach entered her life when she needed to love a person, and his timing couldn't be more perfect. He was another kind of handsome, She shared in an interview with Oprah Winfrey. Great eyes. So I got in the car with Erwin, and my heart was boo-bum already. My hands were wet, and I thought, oh my God, this is love at first sight. Despite their significant age difference, Tina took to Bach. According to her, he was different than anyone else she's met. I was 46. I didn't know he was 30, and I didn't care, she said. Erwin was more mature than most 30-year-olds. I've observed older men, especially the more conservative ones who wear suits all the time. There's a grumpiness that doesn't allow for laughter and fun. They were together for 27 years before deciding to marry in 2013, and per Tina, it was a day she would never forget. Some of the happiest moments in my life were the birth of my beautiful baby boys, Craig and Ronnie, and marrying my partner and soulmate, Erwin Bach, she shared with Today. As for my music, achieving #1 with my song What's Love Got to Do With It and receiving multiple Grammy Awards were thrilling moments, and performing for my fans always felt so great, like I was flying. Tina Turner's stroke hit her like lightning bolt and robbed her of her voice. The same year she married her second husband, Tina Turner was hit by a stroke she compared to a lightning bolt, which also robbed her of her voice. Tina Turner's stroke hit her like a lightning bolt and robbed her of her voice. The late What's Love Got to Do With It singer's death was announced on 24 May, after she had spent years battling potentially fatal illnesses, including kidney issues, that ended with her husband Erwin Bach, 67, donating one of his kidneys in a transplant operation in 2017. Tina said in her tell-all memoir My Love Story about how her stroke hit in 2013. The same year she married music producer Erwin, after spending years getting over her abusive marriage to Ike Turner. You know that wonderful expression, if you want to make God laugh, tell him your plans. On an ordinary October morning in 2013, just 3 months after our glorious wedding, I woke up and felt a lightning bolt strike my head and right leg. I tried to speak, but I couldn't get any words out. I was having a stroke. The stroke had delivered a powerful blow to my body. My entire right side was numb. I'd have to work with a physiotherapist to learn how to walk again, the doctor told me, and using my right hand would be a problem. But the psychological effects were even more profound. I was miserable. The battle for recovery left me with no strength or vitality. Tina added about how she was then struck by more kidney problems and cancer. I wasn't just dealing with the aftermath of the stroke. My doctor was concerned that my high blood pressure might be affecting my kidneys, so he referred me to a specialist. A doctor discovered her kidneys were performing at only 35% of their normal function, and Tina was prescribed medication she said left her convinced were making me feel less clear-headed and energetic. She added, not long after this blow, my health began to fail again. I became so weak that I couldn't leave the house. It took all my strength to stagger between bedroom and bathroom. This time, I was diagnosed with early-stage intestinal cancer, a carcinoma, and several malignant polyps. As I waited for surgery, I cried to Erwin, aren't you sorry you married an old woman? Fortunately for me, he always radiated confidence, optimism, and joie de vivre, and helped me to keep calm. A month after my diagnosis, I had part of my intestine removed. The doctors were optimistic, and I felt a glimmer of hope again. After medics found her kidneys were at a new low of 20%, Tina's life was saved by Erwin, donating one of his to keep her alive.